guys, I'm editing the video right now and I just realized the intro that I made for this is gone. So now you're gonna get this as intro, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so I'm going over Once Upon a Time, the series and everything, and my thoughts of it, and telling a little bit of the backstory of it and things that happened throughout the season, so you can get a deep dive into what happened and also my thoughts on the show as well. I really liked my intro clip and everything. And I'm so sad about that it's gone. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It may be a bit confusing if you never watched the show before. There's a crazy family tree, to say, for starters, and a lot of craziness at the same time, and a lot going on. But I hope you enjoy the video. It may be a long one, so grab a snack, grab something to drink, and let's get started. So basically the basis of the show is that Henry is this little boy who got adopted by Regina, who also, I'm going to preface this so in case people are not going to be aware, big spoiler warning, because you're going to get a ton of spoilers in this video, but it's just going over my thoughts of what happened in the seasons and then the show and stuff. So, but Henry is the son of Regina, who, spoiler, is the evil queen, and she adopted Henry as a baby because his biological mother, Emma, who is drumroll please, Snow White and Prince Charming's daughter. So in season 1, basically Henry goes to Emma's like, hey, I'm your son, and she's like, what? No, you're not. And then they find out, yeah, it's a son. But Regina has this curse, basically, so everyone in the town everyone would forget who they are. So like Snow White, she doesn't remember she's Snow White, she thinks she's Mary or Margaret. And then like Charming, he thinks he's David Nolan. So they don't remember who they are, and Emma is the one supposed to break the curse, basically. And Regina is trying everything in her power to stop Emma from breaking the curse and everything. But obviously you have Henry's little boy here be like, Mom, there's these fairy tale characters, they're actually real. So I was kind of like, Henry, what are you talking about? But yeah, so that's the whole basis of season 1. Obviously you get Emma's first love interest introduced, which did not last long, who was Graham, who was the sheriff. And there was a point actually that he his curse broke and he remembered who he was, what happened and everything. And obviously Regina had something to do about it. And also with his storyline, I do not agree with how they approached it. I do not like Regina's actions with him, towards him in that season. So but that's a whole other thing that I'm not going to touch on because that is a sensitive topic. But yeah, so eventually Emma broke the curse and everyone was like, oh, I'm a fairy tale character. Well, obviously they didn't know they were a fairy tale character. Like, oh, I am this person. What are we doing in this small town in the middle of Maine? So that leads on to season 2. So season 2, the curse is broken, and basically everyone is hating on Regina, and she's like, come get it, like, I'm the evil queen, I'm the baddest, like, duh. And then Emma and Regina are trying to figure out like this parenting stuff, and Emma and Snow get sucked through a portal through the Mad Hatter's hat, which releases them to the Enchanted Forest when they meet up with Mulan and Aurora. And also we meet Hook for the first time. He's one of my character crushes. Ugh, that man. We meet Hook, who is a villain at the time, as well as Cora, who is Regina's mother. another one to add to the family tree. And they're both trying to get back to Storybrooke so Hook can defeat Rumpelstiltskin, who is his like villain, because Rumpelstiltskin technically plays multiple different characters in the show. Like he's Rumpelstiltskin, but also he's like the crocodile in Peter Pan. Like he represents TikTok Rock basically, with Hook hating on him and why Hook calls him crocodile a lot. And then also he represents the Beast in Beauty and the Beast because his love interest is Belle. So but yeah, they end up fighting and stuff like that. And also there was a point where Archie died, but actually it was Cora and Hook and stuff. So, and then everyone eventually finds out it was Cora. And then Cora dies at the hands of Snow, which is a shocker. It's like, because she kind of saved Rumple in the process. And also, if you don't know, Rumpelstiltskin is a bad guy on this whole show. So, like one of the top bad guys. Like he, like, if I had to say a percentage of him being good to bad, it's probably like a 10% good. So, but yeah, so basically Rumple is saved and everything, and also he's reunited with Neil, who is Henry's biological father, and also Rumpelstiltskin's son. So this, you could see, it's just me explaining it, the family tree is just growing more and more. And then at the end of season 2, Henry basically gets taken away by Greg and Tamara, who work for Peter Pan, which I'll explain more in season 3. So let's go on to season 3. We're off to Neverland, obviously, because that's where Peter Pan lives. And you're probably thinking, Grace, Peter Pan, isn't he a nice kid? No, he's actually a man who transformed into a child who is actually evil in the show. Like, he's a bad guy in the show. And also, you want to know about him, what else he's in the show? Rumple's father. Yeah. It was weird the first time watching it and be like, this child is literally Rumpelstiltskin's father, but also you have to think they all have magic, so they're also technically like thousands of years old or hundreds of years old at the same time. So that was interesting to find out for the first time. But obviously with that family connection, Rumple is trying to save Henry as well, but also we learn at the same time that Henry is supposed to be Rumple's undoing, basically, because there was a prophecy about it. But yeah, so I mean, the heroes are trying to work together, including Regina and Hook and everything, because they got dragged into it too. Well, not dragged into it because they wanted to be there. Regina obviously because it's her son, and then Hook because of Emma, which begins the little triangle between Hook, Emma, and Neil, because like basically Neil and Emma were like criminals kind of together and everything. And then August came into the picture basically when Emma did not even know about Storybrooke, whatever. I can't talk. And was like saying to Neil, like, hey, I know you're Balefire, aka Neil. So he had to abandon Emma because she had the duty of saving the town and everything when Regina had the dark curse. So then like Neil left, and then it was Emma and Henry, and that's why she gave up Henry, because she was in jail and everything. So but they had a little love triangle there. Then once Henry was saved, Pan technically became Henry. Like, they swapped bodies and everything, so Henry was technically in Pandora's box while Pan was Henry for all clear wrong, but they eventually found out who was who. And then that's when Selena comes in the picture, and guess what time it is? To add more people to the family tree. And now, who are you're thinking, who is Zelina related to? I'll give you a second. If you guessed Regina, you are correct. Yep, she is Regina's half-sister. So Cora, their mother, I should say, had Zelina first, but gave up Zelina because Cora obviously is more greedy and stuff. She wanted to be born into royalty, so she gave up Zelina because it was with, I can't remember what role Zelina's biological father technically had, but I know it was like, I think he was a stable boy, but I could be wrong. Also, backtrack and everything, I forgot a major detail. The reason why Regina hates Snow so much in the first place is because of her first love, Daniel. So Daniel was a stable boy when Regina was growing up and everything, and she was about to become queen and stuff, but Cora didn't like Daniel. It was like, you should marry into royalty, like love is weakness. That's one thing that a lot of villains say throughout the show, and basically killed Daniel because Snow told Cora about Daniel and they were trying to keep it a secret. So that's why all those years, one thing about the show is they'll do flashback scenes where it's like present day and then flashback to time in the Enchanted Forest and everything. So that's one thing about the show that they do. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Basically Zelina comes in the picture and it's like trying to get everything that Regina wants and everything, and also like trying to get Rumple as well, and to get back at Rumple, Neil dies and everything, and then obviously another curse comes in. Are we surprised there is another curse? No. But when I tell you I was screaming at the end of the season because we got Robin and Regina, which I love them, and then Killian, aka Hook, and Emma. And I literally, I see this scene so vividly in my mind with Emma and Killian, aka Hook. It was like, you traded your ship for me. And I'm like, when season 4, it is basically Frozen now, like the movie Frozen. And one thing about the show as well is like they kind of have like half a season, like it's one big season, but when the show was originally airing, there was like season 4A and then season 4B, stuff like that and everything, because it was on ABC. I didn't start watching the show until after it like finished and everything, so I get to continuously watch it. But in season 4A area, it's Frozen now, and then we're adding more to the family tree, but a different family tree. So obviously with Frozen, you're introduced to Elsa. Elsa's trying to find Anna, who was technically imprisoned by their aunt Ingrid, who also, connection point, was Emma's foster mom at one time. And basically Ingrid's whole mission of this was because her sisters died, she wanted to replace them with Elsa and Emma because they both have magical powers. So that didn't work, and actually Ingrid sacrificed herself for the good of the town, scared of like losing Hook, but also starting to love him and everything, because every time she's been in a relationship, obviously the person this time, Hook was being blackmailed by Rumple and actually took Hook's heart. So one thing in the show as well is you can take people's heart unless it has a protection spell or some sort on it. So like obviously they can't take people's physical heart out, so they'll have like a mold of this heart and everything, and it like glows, or it'll have like darkness in it and everything, depending on the type of person you are in the show. But I will say, when Ingrid cast her curse, the Shattered Sight curse, it was really funny seeing the characters get annoyed with each other. Like the part between like Snow and Charming, I was cackling, especially the way that they were taking care of Neil. Not dead Neil. They had a son and named him after Neil. So but that curse got situated, and then Rumple got banished by Belle because they have this thing called the town line. So if you cross over the town line, most likely you'll forget your memories unless you have the Snow Queen's curse, which helps you get over the town line without forgetting who you are. So she banished Rumple and everything, and then that's when he goes to find Ursula and Cruella. Yes, the villains, Ursula and Cruella, who live normal lives and everything. Like, they lived in, I think Ursula lived in Manhattan, and then Ursula lived somewhere that looked like it belonged in the country club. And then they went back to town to find Maleficent, who was still a dragon under town because of Regina, so they can find the author. And all three of them got back together. Regina went undercover as a villain with the girls to figure out the plans, because Regina's good and everything. She just went undercover so she can get like the idea of what's going on. And then like she had no clue that Rumple was working with them, and then over time, as a couple hangouts, I don't know what you want to call it, happened, then she found out Rumple was back. And then like also Emma finding out what Snow and Charming did to keep Emma good. That was interesting. So basically what happened was that they banished Maleficent's daughter with this great evil into the world without magic, so Emma can have that potential for good and everything. And then Emma obviously got upset over them for that. And that's when we actually meet Maleficent's daughter. Her name is Lily, who actually was a friend of Emma's when she was younger. And obviously a big thing about the show is they'll have a lot of fate. Like, there's always common fate and everything. And like, it's no coincidence in the show where you have the daughter of Maleficent and the daughter of Snow White and Charming be friends in the world without magic, and then they come together again, kind of thing. So Maleficent's daughter was like I don't need you kind of thing, and Maleficent, she just wanted the daughter, and I felt so bad for her. Like, she didn't even really want to be a villain. I feel like she just wanted to be a mother. So but the part that got me, oh my god, I was so mad when I watched this for the first time. So basically, Zelena Marion, who was Robin's wife, and when a spell happened, when Zelena was originally the main villain of the show or the season, she was trying to do a time travel spell to get rid of Regina. Well, the spell had after effects, and Hook and Emma got sucked in, and then that's when they met with Marion. But actually, that's when Zelena swapped herself with Marion, so Marion's gone, and pretended to be Marion. And then when Regina found out through Rumple, she went to New York and Neil's apartment, because a lot of people stay at Neil's apartment even though he's dead now. But anyways, but then everyone found out that Marion was Zelena, and also she was pregnant with Robin's child. I was like, oh god. But yeah, and that still was like, whoa. I'm like, this story is becoming more complicated. Like, these characters don't have enough trauma. You're just gonna get more trauma at the end of the day. And then at the end of the season, obviously, like, Ursula, she became good. Cruella oofed because of Emma. And then Maleficent was just like, I have my daughter, I'm happy. So it was just Rumple by himself or whatever with the author, which they did find eventually. Don't like the author, he annoys me so bad, but he helped Rumple cast this kind of curse, but it was like a version of the book, because the book holds a bunch of power, making a whole heroes versus villains segment where it's like basically Regina and Snow swap roles. Like Snow was the evil queen, and then Regina was like the bandit, kind of like that Snow White was. The curse had they had something to do with the Dark One curse and everything, that it had to be moved out of Rumple because of him being sick, and then it went into the apprentice, and it didn't work on him, and then they all thought the Dark One magic was gonna go away, but no, it went to the most evil thing in the town, aka Regina, and it was like sucking at her, trying to take over her. And Emma, being the savior, she took the power and became the Dark One, which leads to season 5. So season 5, I got a lot of notes on this one. So season 5 obviously begins with Emma being the Dark One, and they're all like how did this happen kind of thing, because they went to Camelot to get help from Merlin, who was supposed to be the one that could help break the Dark One curse for Emma. So, and also they don't remember it all because Emma placed a forgetting spell on them and everything, so they don't remember anything from Camelot. And when they had like flashbacks from Camelot to back in Storybrooke and everything, so it was like back and forth Camelot, like the time that they don't remember we can see, but then they have them in Storybrooke. So when they were meeting King Arthur, obviously they couldn't have Emma be the savior because of her dark powers now with it being the Dark One, so Regina was now the quote-unquote savior. And then I love how I put this in note. I was like, I still to this day want the necklace that Regina got in Camelot but ended up being a spy camera. What was I writing? If any Grace will put this in for me, like the necklace I'm talking about and everything. But yeah, so Regina had to be a savior to cover for Emma and her darkness now. And I loved the part where Charmy was teaching Regina how to dance in Camelot, because in Camelot they were having a big ball and in honor of the heroes, specifically Regina as the savior, even though she wasn't. And oh, this part, I'm like, we love some yearning men. Like Hook and Robin's reactions to Emma and Regina coming down the stairs. I love how I put my notes. Oh, these men are in love. And eventually we will find out Arthur is the bad guy of Camelot and everything, because he is just power hungry and trying to make the kingdom good and stuff like that. And also we get introduced to Merida and her story, and Emma uses Merida, like Emma as the Dark One uses Merida to help Gold become a hero, because they need Gold to remove the sword from the stone, because that's the only way you could do it, is if the sword chooses you to be the hero to remove it. And the sword, basically you have the Dark One dagger, which is like the tip, and then the rest of the sword is actually cut, so those two together make the whole sword. So Emma as the Dark One needed the whole sword for herself. They get the dagger the whole sword out. It's come to find out there's not one but 2 Dark Ones. Now we're gonna do a guessing game here. Who do we think is the next another Dark One? That isn't Rumple, because again, Rumple got his powers removed. I'm gonna give you a minute. If you said Hook, you were correct. So basically, Hook became a Dark One because when he was in a fighting thing, he got nicked in the neck with Excalibur, which can anyone, and it affected him and everything. So Emma used her Dark One powers on him, so he become a Dark One, so he can be saved. And then erased his memories, so he doesn't remember he's a Dark One. No one knew that he was a Dark One. He didn't. And then once he found out, he went full on Dark One mode. But it was so funny. Like, there's this one scene, like, he's like, okay, time to finally get my revenge against Rumple because I'm more powerful than him. He's like, well, mate, I don't dare you and everything to duel, or we'll duel at dawn, dare you, or something like that. But to finally get at Rumple and everything for all he's done, which Rumple and Killian and Hook have a very complicated path. Time goes on, and then Hook, as the Dark One, realizes he's basically hurting Emma, aka love his life, and he's like, I can't do this. And he's like, he basically sacrifices himself to save Emma and save everyone. And then I remember watching that scene for the very first time, like the scene of him for the first time, and I was sobbing. I was like, no, they're in love, why do you do that? And basically, Hook didn't have to die. Basically, this is what annoyed me with Rumple's character even more over time. Rumple basically cheated Hook out of his life. So basically, when he sacrificed himself, all the Dark Ones' power, like, because there was a whole bunch of Dark Ones, like, from past ones of the Dark Ones, because of what they were trying to do, the Dark Ones, like, not just Hook and Emma, but the previous Dark Ones, they wanted to trade lives with people in storybooks so they can come back to life, because they were stuck in the underworld. So but yeah, he took the power, Rumple took the power of all the Dark Ones, so he's basically the ultimate Dark One. And when I heard about that, I was pissed, and so was Emma, and rightfully so. I was like, yes, and she was like, I need to go save him. So they all went to the underworld. On the way to the underworld, Emma has a dream, and then that's when she sees Neil for the last time, and he's like, don't go down there and everything, but he understood, because I'm like, you will go after the love of your life too. And then, oh god, seeing Peter Pan again made me mad because he annoyed me so much. And then Rumple and him becoming a team again, like, annoyed me even more. And like, then we get the introduction of Hades, who is basically keeping captive a Hook, especially because, like, he piques interest in Hook. And like, Hook meets Megara while he's down there as well, and they start to become a team to get out and everything, but they eventually clash with Cerberus, which, if you don't know, in Greek mythology, it's a big three-headed dog, basically, that works for Hades. And Megara was able to get out, but Hook, he was rough. He looked rough. So Megara went to get help and everything, and eventually runs into the heroes, and also Hercules again and everything, and like Snow. It's so funny, the time frames here, because you have Hercules as a teenage boy, and then you have Snow as a full-grown adult, being like, and they were love interest when Snow was younger. The timeline's weird, I tell you. It's weird. It's so weird. But we can't question it, because if we do question it, it's gonna make our brains melt. So, but anyways, as the heroes are down in the underworld, they have helped people move on. So basically, you can either move on to a better place or a worse place, and like the heroes are helping characters move on to a better place and everything, and like kind of like help them finish their unfinished business and everything. Like Regina got to see both her parents. Zelina got to meet actually Korra for the first time because she never met Korra before. Hercules and Megara moved on. Hook's brother Liam, older brother Liam, moved on. When I say older, you'll understand why in a bit. And Hades was not happy about that. Like, he's like, you're destroying where I live and everything. And he eventually wanted to go to Storybrooke anyways, because basically he was trapped in the underworld, and the only way he can break free is True Love's kiss to restart his heart, because Zeus stopped his heart basically. So yeah, and apparently Zelina and him had a past, which was interesting. And like Zelina eventually broke that curse to restart Hades' heart. And like, I knew when I first was watching this, I was like, he's not gonna change for her no matter what, and he didn't. And basically tricked the heroes and everything, and was gonna try to keep them trapped in underworld while this portal was open that Zelina and Hades could go right back to Storybrooke for. And like, the portal was gonna close at a certain time, so if they didn't make it in time, oh well, they're screwed. So, but they eventually got back and everything. But Hades is over here trying to take over Storybrooke and everything, and Zelina was like trying to defend him to Regina, because Regina and Zelina, after all the years of fighting, they were trying to be better for their mother. When they met, like when they were saying bye to Korra, they were like, be there for each other kind of thing. So Regina was trying to put her trust into Zelina for her trust for the Hades, and obviously Hades proved that wrong. So she's trying to like warn her sister, and Zelina's like, no, he's changed, he's good, no. So, and obviously he wasn't. And then obviously Regina tried to go stop him along with Robin. And when I tell you, I'm still heated about this to this day. And a big spoiler warning here: Robin dies at the hands of Hades. And then not even 5 minutes later, Hades dies at the hands of Zelina. Which, that one I agree with, that one's good. But why did Robin have to die? Like, I know, I'm just saying this in a point. Like, love, like, having a relationship, it should not equal your happiness. No. But, in Regina's case, Regina has been through so much. In this show, she is one of the most complex characters in the whole entire show. If you watch from top to bottom, she's one of the most complex characters in the whole entire show. And like, she deserves an ounce of happiness with someone, because all the love she's ever had, it's fizzled away from her or whatever. So I'm just like, you couldn't give her this. So I was just like, why? And then like, Zelina obviously Hades and everything, and like, then they were both sobbing together and everything. And obviously Regina kind of blames Zelina for Robin's death, which I'm like, I don't blame you either, girl. So yeah, so then they had the funeral for Robin and everything, and Emma was like sad over Hook still and everything. Like, she went to Hook's actual grave and was like, I miss you and everything. And apparently when Hook moved on eventually from helping from the underworld, because he got pages from the storybook that Hades ripped out to give to the heroes, that way they know how to stop Hades. And he moved on, but it was greeted by Zeus, who brought him back to life. I was so thankful on that. And I was like, why couldn't you like, I know it was impossible, but why could you do that to Robin? But yeah, Hook got resurrected and went back to Emma, and then there was stuff happening with some sort of magic thing. I forget exactly what exactly happened, but Hook ran into Granny's. It's like, something's happening, and everyone's like, oh, Hook's back, how? And everything. And everyone was like panicking over magic possibly lost because of Henry saying that. And then like, because it was magic was being lost, and while they were trying to save everyone at Storybook, while Regina and Emma were looking for Henry, and Violet, I think her name was, the rest of the heroes were still at Storybook trying to save everyone. Eventually, like, a portal opened up and sucked Snow, Charming, Hook, and Zelena in to bring them to where Jekyll and Hyde live. Which I'm like, why did you have to bring Jekyll and Hyde into this story? But okay. And then after they got out of the prison and everything, they were transported by the Wish Fountain in New York. And they were all back together eventually. And Regina was having difficulty with, like, coming to terms with what she's done in, like, her evil past and everything. Like, she was like, it haunts her every day, and being like, oh, I have this alter ego and everything that haunts me every day. She's like, I want to break it out sometimes. And then they had these and then Hyde or Jekyll, whoever, had the serum to split himself and everything, which, if you don't know the Jekyll and Hyde story, it's basically the same person but split in two. So Regina used the serum herself, so she had her regular self and then the evil queen and everything, and then she was split in two, and they thought they got rid of her fully, but turns out they were wrong. Okay, we took a 5-minute break and we're back on season 6. So this season I also have a bit of notes as well. So season 6, we leave off on Regina basically splitting herself in half, doing a whole Jekyll and Hyde situation on herself, but we get the introduction. Oh, okay, lost my nail there. That's fun. I give up. I literally lost another nail while trying to search for my other nail. As I was saying, basically, now we get the introduction of Aladdin, who we learn was also a savior. So there's not just one savior, which I'm like, when I first watched it, I'm like, I kind of figured, because I'm like, okay, you have multiple dark ones, you must need someone to counteract that balance. So and then that's when we get the beginning of Emma's visions and her hand shaking, because these visions basically tell her fate, basically how she's gonna die and stuff. And we learn about the evil queen again, because we thought she was gone, she was vanquished or whatever. Turns out she was back, and with Zelena, apparently. Zelena was like, wait, I thought you were gone, but no. And one thing I find so interesting is, like, the way that, like, it's like a toss-up between Regina and Rumple. The way they're always in cahoots with all these different villains, and they know everyone. I feel like it's so funny. And then, like, finally Emma's over here like, to Hook, move in with me. I was like, finally, girl, you ask him? After all the stuff we've been through, you literally split a heart so he can come back to Earth as well, which also happened in season 5 too. Like, because Snow White and Charming did this originally too, when Zelena was acting up her curse in season 3, basically, or yeah, it was while they were in the Enchanted Forest. Yeah, so Snow and Charming split their heart and everything so they can live and everything, because Charming sacrificed his heart and everything, and I was like, oh, you could do the heart split. It worked on my parents, so they did that. But yeah, after all the stuff they've been through, good thing they moved in with each other. I'm like, finally. Then, oh my god, I put this in my my notes, Jasmine Atlantic, and in my head I went, college Atlantic, he's like a magnet, you know. And then because the evil queen can morph into different people, she went undercover as Archie, and then that's when Emma's visions were revealed, and there was these shears that can help Emma cut herself from her destiny. And Hook ended up keeping the shears, but he ended up confessing and being like, "Hey, I kept them just in case and everything." But ended up giving them away. But still got found by the evil queen, anyways. And was given a rumble. But anyways, yeah. So I don't know if you know the movie Finding Nemo. If you do, it's about fish. Tell me why they made Nemo a human. I just didn't feel like that was necessary. But also, like, he was the captain of the Nautilus and stuff, and his like right-handed man was Liam, but not Liam, Hook's older brother. No, younger Liam, who's also Hook's brother. Yeah, there's two Liams that their dad named after because of Liam. So but yeah, so having Hook's brother be a part of Nemo's crew was interesting to see because they're like, oh, you're my brother as well, okay. And I was like, I thought this was so funny, Henry being a teenager to Hook, like it was so comical because like Henry's like trying to accept Hook into his life and everything because obviously he misses his dad. I mean, of course he would and everything, but also he's like balancing being a teenager as well at the same time. It's just so funny watching. And then the evil queen threw out a problem, or like an ultimatum basically to Snow White and Charming. It's like, because obviously they split apart, she knows that because like she was part of Regina all the time. She was like, if you don't give me your hearts, I'm going to use the water from the River of Souls on the whole town. So if you don't know what the water of the River of Souls is basically back in the underworld, they have this water that if you're poured into, your soul is obliterated, and like you don't have your body, you don't have your soul, like nothing's left of you at all. And so she threatened to use it on the town, and obviously Snow and Charming being heroes, they gave in and gave her their hearts. And like Regina, the evil queen, was like, I've been waiting for this moment forever, and she was like, no, this is not good enough, I need you to make you suffer more. So she put a sleeping curse on their hearts, and I lost another nail. I'm going to yell. I'm just going to take off nails while we're in the process of this because I'm tired of these nails. She put a sleeping curse on one of the hearts, so when one of them, Snow or Charming, is sleeping, the other one's awake, and then basically they would kiss each other, and then the other one would come to sleep and the other one would wake. So which I felt bad for them though. I know everyone was like feeling bad for them, and then Regina was like over here trying to basically undo the curse and everything, and then the evil queen actually became somewhat good because Regina finally was like, I love myself, and basically because when Regina cut herself out of the evil queen, all that darkness in her heart went to the evil queen doppelganger or whatever. So Regina took the evil queen's heart, gave it her heart, and like meshed them together so both of their hearts would be half good, half bad. So the evil queen didn't have all this darkness in her. And then she sent the evil queen off to the Witch Realm, which she hung out with Robin Hood. But this was the Robin before he met Marion and everything, and technically in the story where he would like steal in general. So but then we move on to the second side of season 6, where we're introduced to the Black Fairy and Gideon, who is Belle and Rumpel's son. And at first he was a baby, but then just to protect, because Belle wanted to protect Gideon from Rumpel, because obviously Rumpel is a dark person, she sent him off with the blue fairy. But a certain person came and took Gideon and like kind of like hurt the blue fairy in a sense, and that was the black fairy. And if you don't know who the black fairy is, she is ready for a more complicated storyline, Rumpel's mother. So I want to go over a little bit of the family tree once I finish the wrap up a little bit. The black fairy Gideon is supposed to be Emma's undoing that were in the vision. I had to like basically get Emma's heart and everything for the final battle to begin. But also during this, like the leading up to the final battle, we want to learn more about Gideon, but also the black fairy, which basically the black fairy was doing all this because Rumpel, when Rumpel was born, he was supposed to be a savior, and with the savior you always had that final battle that will be his undoing. And Fiona, aka the black fairy, did not like that, so she became the black fairy at the time and everything. She didn't know that, and then she didn't know she was actually going to be that great evil, which Tiger Lily was like, you're the great evil, because Tiger Lily was Rumpel's like fairy godmother at the time. And basically then like Rumpel and the black fairy reunited, and Rumpel ended up having helping the black fairy, like convincing that she was dead, but she wasn't, and everything. And all throughout this, while they're trying to figure out how to defeat the black fairy, guess who's engaged and planning to get married? Hook and Emma. Which I was like it was so interesting, because during that time when Hook was like debating on proposing, a secret came out basically that Hook at the time when he was younger, I don't know if younger, but when he was bad, he ran into David's father and his father. So and like he never knew until later on, and he was like, I'm so scared that she's not gonna forgive me and everything like that. And she got upset over it, or just didn't tell, led to a huge fight, and then that's how he got transported to Nautilus with younger Liam, Nemo, and then ran into Aladdin and Jasmine while Aladdin and Jasmine were trying to find Agrabah because of Jafar, which they eventually found and defeated Jafar and everything. But Hook was like kept away because of Gideon, and Gideon had magic to keep Hook away. But then when finally Regina figured out a way to get Snow and Charming awake, because while Regina was trying to figure out stuff to get them awake, Hook was still gone and everything, but like Snow and Charming sacrificed themselves of being awake all the time for Hook to come back and everything. And obviously everything was forgiven and everything too, but they were figuring out a wedding this whole time, and just like the curse was already forming and everything, so they had nothing they could do about it. So they still got married and everything. But what's interesting is about that episode that they got married in, it was a musical episode. And I know when that era happened of TV, there was a lot of shows doing musical episodes. And I wasn't watching Once Upon a Time when the show was happening, but I know in that era there was a few different ABC shows that were having musical episodes. And I was like, why? That makes no sense at all. So, but they got married, and then the dark curse came in, and basically it was kind of like a swap in a sense. Like Fiona basically became Regina in season 1. Like she was the mayor of the town. She was Henry's mother, which was interesting, to say the least. And it's like Emma was like making it seem like it was the curse made it seem like Emma went crazy. It was like saying all these characters were weird. That's why Henry was taken away from her. Eventually, the curse was broken and everything, and they all got back to each other. And she ended up saving the day. And yeah, so and then they like hint a little bit into season 7, introducing Lucy, who also has the family tree, who is Henry's daughter. Oh my god, the family tree is complicated. But yeah, at the end of season 6, they're all getting along for the most part and everything. Like, you have all these heroes and former villains under one roof. Hook and Emma are married. Snow and Charming are fully awake. Regina's somewhat happy with Henry and stuff. And then Zelina's getting along with her sister. Rumple and Belle have their son. So, and they're having like this one big family dinner at Granny's. So I was like, that's a sweet way to end off the season. Now we get into season 7, which I feel like is the most iffy season, depending on who watches it. So let's get into season 7. Season 7, I don't have a ton of notes on, but I just wanted to mention it as well. But obviously the storylines are weird. Like, I remember watching it for the first time and I was just like, why? Because what they do and what they did in this season is, when they were in the wish realm, like when I was mentioning Robin earlier after him dying, that was wish realm Robin. Because when the evil queen like was back and everything and out of Regina, she wished that Emma was no longer the savior. So it sent her to this wish realm, and then Regina went after her, trying to remind her who she was. That's how they met up with Robin again. So basically in this season we have wish realm Hook and wish realm Rumple as well in the season. But like the actual Hook and Emma are pregnant, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. I love them so much. But Regina's still in the show and everything, but she's as Ronnie because they're in this new city called Hibernian Heights, which I think was in Seattle, if I remember correctly. But yeah, basically the introduction of Lucy is the same as what happened in season 1, where like Henry goes up to Emma's door, is like, hi, I'm your son. But Lucy did the same thing, but it's like, hi, I'm your daughter, to Henry. So it was like an older Henry, which also there's 2 Henrys in this as well. But yeah, so basically it's kind of like a similar plot as season 1, where it's like the kid is trying to get the parent to remember who they are, and like Lucy's trying to get Henry to remember her, as well as Jacinda, who is his mother, her mother, who is Cinderella. So there's a second Cinderella in this series as well. And then like Victoria, who is the grandmother of Lucy, or the step grandmother, technically. Yeah, technically is the step grandmother, is trying to wake up Anastasia from a curse. You do have like Mother Gothel in this as well, who was a villain. And this part was interesting. The Wish Realm Hook had a daughter with Gothel, because she was presumed as someone else, and then it turned out to be Gothel. And at the end of the show, obviously, adult Henry remembers who he is, remembers Lucy, remembers Jacinda, and then like Wish Realm Hook, not Hook, Wish Realm Rumple is like trying to take over and everything, and then like the actual Rumple like tries to save the day, and he actually does, and he does. Emma and everything. And Regina, like, is obviously sad about it because she's grown up with this man and everything too, even though they have a very complicated history and stuff. But like, he saved himself for the wish from Hook, which I feel like is just such a meaningful thing because it's like they hated each other. It was for the wish from Hook. I was like, wait, no, but it's just like they hated each other. No matter which realm, they hated each other. So it's just like that change is just so interesting. But yeah, the show ends up with them all being back together, with the different Hooks and as well and everything. And Regina becomes the good queen, ruling over all the realms. So all the realms that have been mentioned throughout the seasons, she rules over all of them basically. And Emma and actual Hook were late to the ceremony because of Little Hope. That's the name of their daughter. And that's where the show ended. But now I'm gonna get into things I wish that they changed. So let's go. So things that I wish that they changed. So one of the things is Robin's death, which I was mentioning earlier. Like, he did not have to die and everything. Like, I get Regina's happiness did not need to have a love interest, but she deserves one. I feel like she deserved one, and I feel like a lot of people will say that as well. Like, she deserved one. And then I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if I'm the only shipper of these two or whatever, but I believe Mulan and Ruby should have been in the game, not Ruby and Dorothy. I'm sorry if you're a fan of Ruby and Dorothy together, but I like Mulan and Ruby. I like them together. Like, I don't know. And like, personally, I was just confused about the whole Jekyll and Hyde storyline. Like why did they introduce them in the universe? Like, they should have just kept it as the evil queen as the main villain of season 6 part A area, in my opinion. Then like the musical episode in season 6, it was interesting to have, but if they I wouldn't have done it personally, but if they had to have it, I wouldn't have done it on that episode personally or at all. But anyways, and then Emma's wedding dress, I am so sorry, but I am a hater of it. I'm sorry. It's just like, you know, if you know a person, right, and you see them and you're like, oh, like, this person would so not wear that type of thing. That's me with Emma's wedding dress, because I'm like, she's very much this badass woman who wears leather jackets, and I mean she wears dresses sometimes, but I'm like, she wears leather jackets, and she has this pirate who wears leather like crazy. Like, I'm not expecting her to wear a leather dress, but I'm like, I didn't expect that kind of dress for her. So I was just like, I wish she wore something different. And I'm just like, it looked very Victorian era, which I'm like, I don't think she would wear that personally. And then I'm gonna touch on season 7 again, because I get why they had season 7. Like, obviously you wanted to continue the storyline with Henry and stuff, and I like the sensation of having a repeat of like what Henry did to Emma, back on him with Lucy, in a sense, like being like, hey, I'm your kid kind of thing. But I don't know, it's just like a very hit or miss on this season, because it's just like the whole second character kind of thing, like the second Hook, second Rumple kind of thing, it just confused me a little bit. And then also I really miss having the main characters in it. Like, they, like Emma, real Hook, Snow and Charming, they weren't in the season much. Like, they were in it for like probably between the couple episodes that they were in, no more than probably 10 minutes. And I'm like, they're the main crew, I want them in all the seasons. So it was just like learning the first time that they weren't going to be in season 7 as much, or really, I was just like, no, like, why? So it's just like, it kind of like, not like, when I'm attached to a cast, I'm attached to a cast. So when I was just like, when I learned that they weren't gonna be in it, I was just like, why? That's so annoying. So, but yeah, I was just like, I don't know. Season 7 is a hit or miss for me, and I know a lot of people agree or disagree online. Like, I know some people love season 7, and then I know some people that absolutely hate it and think it was garbage. I'm just very in the middle about it. But to answer basic questions, if you want to know who my favorite characters are at all, favorite characters: Regina, Emma, Charming, Ariel, Hook, Ursula, and honestly Maleficent as well, probably. And then favorite seasons, I wouldn't say I have favorite seasons. I have favorite segments, probably. I do love I do love the whole villains portion where Rumble loses his powers. I guess the other villains back together to find the author. I do like that segment. I do like the whole underworld segment, even though I was so sad over half of it for sure. I do like the storyline of Hook and Emma falling in love, like the enemies to lovers. Chef kiss. And the same thing with Robin and Regina. Even though I did not like their ending, I'm like, they should have been together, not just in this wish world, but the actual them. But yeah, that is my little bit of Once Upon a Time. I could go on this topic for hours and hours, but I feel like this video is long enough, and I've been wanting to do this video for so long because I'm just like, I love this show, and I just finished my rewatch of it. So, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing online and being like, there's potential for a reboot. I don't know how I feel about that, because the only way I will accept a reboot of this show is if everyone that's part of the main cast is back. That's the only way I'm gonna accept it. Like, I need Emma, I need actual Hook, I need Snow, I need Charming, I need Regina, and I need Rumple. Those are the ones, and Henry obviously too, but I need those ones that I consider part of the main cast back. And also I'm just like, what kind of storylines would you want to do exactly? Oh my god, I'm sorry, I have a short attention span. I love how it's like the ears are here and I'm like putting my head back. I'm like, it looks like I'm wearing ears. I'm like, oh, how cute. Like, wait. Hey, it looks like I'm wearing ears. Thumbnail. So I'm just like, I would like a reboot, but I just want if they do a reboot, I just wanted to make sure it's right. Like, I don't want to do it just to do it kind of thing, because I feel like a lot of shows do the reboots just to do it and not actually think it through. So I'm like, if you're gonna do a reboot, make sure it's right. Like, make sure everything's right. Like, don't do it just to do it kind of thing. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm curious on what's gonna happen with this show. I will still continue my rewatches. I do a rewatch of it at least once a year, and I don't care, because it's one of my favorite shows. Even though I have a little bit of stuff I don't agree with that they did in the show, it's still one of my comfort shows for sure. But if you stayed this long in the video, thank you for hearing me yap for however so long about Once Upon a Time. Let me know if you guys want this for like other shows or whatever. I was just like, let me write out my thoughts while I'm watching this. You know, might as well. I think it's fun. Obviously, I didn't touch on everything that's in the show, but if there's anything that I missed that you guys want to talk about in the comments, definitely comment it below. Please keep it respectful. If you don't agree with things that I've said, This is just all my opinion. I am just a girl who lives in Orlando that is a fan person and loves TV shows and movies and music and Disney. So I don't know any better, but I just love what I love and don't like what I like. But I hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see. There should be hopefully more content coming from me soon. I have had a lot going on the past couple months, so it's just like content has been very off and on kind of thing because I've been all over the place to say. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.